All right, everybody, this will be a warning to all politicians. I'm running for president, part 96, I believe, in 2024. So I think I went off on a couple tangents on the last one, so I wanted to follow through on some thoughts I started there. With regard to, this whole thing, defund police and all this and everything. If you watch certain news media, you would think this is some kind of wave sweeping, and that all these protests going on is the majority of how people feel and this and that, and because they show constantly every night in several of these cities and stuff. And I'm here to tell you, traveling across the country, these people are not a majority, and that's across all races. Just because somebody's African American does not mean they believe in what Black Lives Matter is pushing, or what Antifa is pushing, or any of this kind of stuff. Definitely you can see TV shows like TMZ, Christian Amanpour, anything on CNN, NBC, the morning news shows, the late night talk shows. They're all pushing for the left. They're all skewing the truth and not telling you the whole story. And I think even on the right, like Fox and stuff, shied away from. Candace Owens was one of the first ones to come out and expose George Floyd's record, this and that, and they kept a lot of that video from people of what actually happened, just like they did in Ferguson and stuff. So there's people definitely using tragic events to try and push a political cause, and the political cause isn't what they're telling people. It isn't for some kind of freeing America from racism type stuff, and police brutality like they preach. It's the only cause that they're concerned about is getting reelected. That's it. Because my experience is, yes, there's racist people in America, but America in itself, we're such a racist country. What are all these people from all over the world doing here then? The founding fathers owned slaves. Yeah, they did. So they had faults like everybody else in the world, and it wasn't, abnormal for people to have slaves in those days, or house servants and this and that. And I really don't think they were like the roots portrayed, not the founding fathers, and I'm sure there was a lot of that going on. But and I saw this thing on Christian Amanpour last night, relating how the first police forces were just put in effect to capture slaves, that there weren't any. That's horseshit. There was law enforcement authority there, because there was a judiciary system set up. You understand? This nation's not perfect. No nation on earth is perfect, and hasn't had things in its past. Can you condemn Germans today for what happened in Germany? In the first part of, not the first part of their history, but part of their history. World War I, World War II. Can you blame all Germans for Hitler and what happened? No, you can't. But because there were things done, unjust things done in this country and stuff, you can either dwell on that or you can move forward. You can't blame everybody under the sun and say it's still going on. We have made progress, just like Germany made progress after Hitler. So, but anyhow, I said before about, if you follow the thought process of the left and what they're pushing and stuff and everything, follow it through. Look down the road 20 years, 30 years. You see now, you already have where school boards in certain school districts, that are pushing this far leftist thing and teaching your children there's no such thing as boy and girl, and all this stuff. I mean, there's even cases in California and Texas where they sent letters to the parents telling them not to tell the children that there was boy or girl because they were confusing the kids. And then, you see cases here and there from time to time where parents have objected to what was being taught in the classroom. And you see it now, even now. There's kids who have been reprimanded for being pro-Trump or whatever, wearing a Trump t-shirt or they're being divisive and all this type of stuff. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I've never seen a kid wearing a Trump hat going and attacking somebody at a clear blue, but I've seen plenty of that coming from the left, attacking people for their political beliefs and wearing like a Trump hat. I've seen them grabbing flags out of people's hands and trying to burn flags and stuff and everything. That's the left. Wanting to tear down their own country. If there's something wrong in this country, we have processes. There are ways to address things, put opinions and stuff out in the public space and see, instead of all this irrationality and the propaganda from the news media, just constantly berating people for their beliefs or trying to hammer their beliefs into them and stuff. But you look at, let's imagine 20 years down the road, these leftists get power, because they're not the majority of the population. That's the thing. They are not the majority. But suppose they get power and then they kind of get the police forces set up the way they want them and everything, and so then they decide they're going to come for people's guns or whatever. But also look at, like, in the classroom, they're going to teach certain doctrines and stuff. And if you object, or your child is going to be reprimanded in school, he's going to have some transgender guy standing there in a dress or something, reprimanding him and telling him how wrong or evil he is because he believes in boy and girl or God or heterosexual monogamous marriage and stuff. I mean, you got to follow it through. You really do. You have to look down the road and say, what's the end of all what they're trying to do? They're promising people everything free. You follow that through, and that's a dead end. You follow through their taking up all these causes and abortion and the screwed up alphabet people and this and that and trying to force, first it was all be tolerant of homosexuals, then it was have some sympathy for them because of AIDS and all this type of stuff, and they just wanted to be treated like everyone else and stuff. And now you're having all this stuff thrown at you, and you're having them going into the Boy Scouts, the Girl Scouts, into the schools and all this and everything. And it's like, it's almost their religion that they're forcing on people. Now, they would not like it if Muslims or Christians or anybody else was forcing beliefs on them. But they're going out and they're pushing their stuff like it's a religion. And, like I said, you want to believe in science or whatever, go ahead. But you should have no right to tell a parent they're wrong for teaching their child that there is a God. You should not be able to reprimand a child in school for believing that there's a God. You should not be able to reprimand a child in school because they believe there's a boy and girl. And that's the only not method, but equation to equal marriage later in life or whatever. But you can see, like I said, if you were to take Orwell's 1984, Pink Floyd's The Wall, and where the teachers berate the kids, imagine that coming from extreme left. So somebody should do a movie. If you can take those two concepts, The Wall, Pink Floyd, and Orwell's 94, and then look at the people who want to berate and push, you know, show, you know, like in the wall it shows teachers berating kids and stuff, and you know, building, you know, society into this, you know, this is the way it is type thing. Imagine that coming from the left. You have to accept these half men, half women. You have to accept, oh, we're not even going to use words, man or woman no more. You know, you see where they've admonished people for that. You can't, you know, it's whatever I self-describe as. I can make up anything, and that's fantasy world. And that's where these people they're living in some delusional fantasy world, and out there in the extreme, and it's like, and you're mixing that with drugs and all this political stuff and the violence, and so follow that through. Somebody please do a movie, show what this country, not only this country, the world, like I said, these people get power and stuff. You out there across the world, you know, you want people like this in charge of the greatest, most powerful military on the face of the earth, and the nuclear weapons and stuff? You want them forcing their ideologies of this extremist, wacky ideas on you and your country? Because they will try and export it. They will try and export it. You can look at how the Clintons were. You can look what Obama and Clinton did, you know, in Egypt and in Libya and Syria, and you know, just expanding conflicts and stuff. You have Hillary Clinton all upset. You know, I believe in women's rights too and everything, but I don't believe it's our place to, you know, she went off about how women, you know, why are, you know, and she's just as big a supporter of Saudi Arabia when it would come to foreign policy, etc., in the region as anyone else. But I guess it was she was, if I remember right, trying to demean other people's support of Saudi Arabia, because she was trying to use it as a point to get votes, because she's more for women's rights. So she was pointing the finger at them, saying, you know, oh, women can't even drive and this and that. Women do drive there. It's not prevalent like our society, and you cannot force change on people and pull the rug out from everything they know and have understood. You know, you can say, hey, take a look at this, whatever. And like I said, it's the same thing here in this country. You cannot overturn people's lives. You have an idea, you're Congress and this and that, and you're going to take everybody's money, and you get this idea and you're going to do it and destroy people's lives, their income, this and that. You know, so say taxes. You know, people talk about oppression. You know, the biggest thing oppressing you, of not, and you always hear this, you know, making resources available so people can you know, have the same resources everybody else does, and this and that. Well, guess what? Taxing the hell out of people, you're taking resources out of their hands. I could have plenty of resources and capital to do things. You want to give me back a lot of the taxes I've paid my whole entire life? You know, so people need to slow down and look at where they're coming from, and actually what they're trying to put in play and how they're doing it, and be honest with themselves. You know, yeah, that's right. We can't do that. That'll hurt this. You know, but they all think, well, you got to break some eggs, make an omelet. As long as it's their omelet, they don't care. They're breaking your eggs. So. But that's the biggest thing there is oppression. Is you could look to his taxes, and you know, people say, oh, the minimum wage, this and that. You can raise the minimum wage a little bit, but honestly, most business are already paying way above minimum wage. You know, change careers. You're free to do that in this country. You're free to pursue which one. Now, you can argue whether or not you get the capital or the time or the education to pursue what you want, but those are things you got to work on. That's part of your struggle. could be part of your struggle. If you want to be pushing that rock up the hill, whatever it is. So with the ideas about, you hear these cities saying, oh, Trump couldn't use the military and this and that and everything. Well, unfortunately, I guess it depends how you look at it, fortunately or unfortunately. It is a dangerous thing. I guess it'll depend, because the same act will be available to both parties. So it's like a double-edged sword. But it was Obama who signed the NDAA, which stated in it that the Army, the military, could arrest you, haul you off, no trial, no warrant, no nothing, if you were suspected of terrorism. So technically, Trump could send the Army in to arrest people, domestic terrorists, attacking federal buildings, and other things. So technically he could. I don't think he would, unless it was really absolutely positively necessary and there was an extreme amount of loss of property and life going on. But I think the first steps would be like he done and sent FBI and ATF and federal officers, not troops, like these mayors have said. They're not troops. Trust me, if the troops come, you're going to know it, because they are not going to mess around. They're just going to clear the street, and that's going to be it. So, they sent these officers to protect life and property, and the left, of course, calls it troops and trying to make him out to be like a Nazi, and that when he says he's going to put law enforcement at the polling stations and all this, it's to prevent people from voting. No, it's going to be so that people can vote. Trump would rather have you vote for him, but he's not going to stop you from voting for somebody else. He knows, he believes in the Constitution, he believes in the process. So, they're full of shit there. Now, the danger is, like I said, double-edged sword. Imagine the future the left wants, and that NDAA thing still being intact, where they could then turn around and use the military, or try to use the military, to come after citizens who won't go along with their agenda. Their socialist, homosexual, transgender, godless, abortion-filled agenda. Whatever else is in there that I missed. So, yes, because of that NDAA, the president does have the authority to have the military go and arrest people. And he does have the authority to send them in to protect life and property. Now, where the difference is with the left would use it to go after their political enemies, just like all socialist and tyrannical countries do. Trump would use it, go in, we're going to protect life and property. You have all this violence going on, we're just going to stop the violence. You can still believe whatever you want to believe, go vote for whoever you want to vote for. The left would use it to enforce their ideologies on you. See, Trump would use it to suppress violence and allow normal American life to go on as it should. And the left would use it to enforce their doctrines on you if you object to their doctrines. You see where I'm going? How I'm saying that that's a double-edged sword. In one way, it's a good thing to have, where the president can say, hey, we need to do something to restore order. And then it would be a bad thing in the hands of like the leftist socialists, who would use it like you look at Honduras, you look at all these countries, Cuba, the way Soviet Union did in Eastern Europe, way Hitler did, way all these, when the military is used to force political agenda, etc., and to go after political opponents, and stuff like that's the wrong use. If they're used to go and stop violence in a city to protect innocent lives and property, that's lawful use. You understand? So that's, I started going down on the last one. I just wanted to follow through on that because I think it's very important as we look towards the future. And the types of people who are trying to get in, some of them are in power, AOCs, leftists, this and that and everything, and her ideas, they have no concept of power, the use of power and authority in a constitutional republic. They think it's their hammer just to make everybody think like they do. And the real truth of the matter is, no, it's just to make sure there's to protect the welfare, general welfare of the people, and to ensure domestic tranquility, which means we solve our things at the voting with elections and with leaders who go and debate and discuss things and pass laws and etc. like that. We just do not have an ideology that is to be pushed out and pumped into people's heads, and then use law enforcement or military to be the hammer to make people afraid to speak out. And that's what the left is doing. You can see right now they're using these people in the streets to make people afraid to speak out. They're using bullying tactics. They'll boycott. They'll get you fired from your job. This is not they're not practicing a free and fair political process. They are not practicing a free and fair political process by what they're doing, by what they're encouraging. And the news media is supposed to be, the vanguard of truth and freedom to ensure, not to ensure, what do they call them, the fourth estate, fifth estate, are going along with it. So they've infiltrated the news media, they've infiltrated into the congressional, they've infiltrated the mayor's offices, the prosecutors, this and that. They are not a majority of the population. However, they are moving into the positions of power in the states and in the cities and stuff, to where they're not going to have to be the majority. They're just going to hold all the cards, or they're going to think they're going to be holding all the cards, to do as they please and enforce as they please, and teach your children as they please, their doctrines and stuff. And instead of allowing you the freedom to be religious or not religious on your own, or teach your children religion or not on your own, to vote as you see fit on your own without people, to support a political candidate as you see fit, without being harassed walking down the street. You can clearly see how they want to use authority. If you look at these thugs in the streets, that's how they want to use law enforcement and the military, eventually, I think, to enforce their beliefs and stuff on you. School's supposed to be where your kid goes to learn reading, writing, arithmetic, maybe some skills and things about life they need to know about taking care of themselves and supporting themselves, and how to be social and be a good citizen with others who are different than him or her. And but the school system seems to want to go this left way and teach. No, they're gonna teach all these other things, these ideologies, and these homosexual, transgender things, and all these other socialist values, leftist values, and that's not right. Stick to the math, the reading, writing, and arithmetic, and get the hell out of our kids' heads. So And you can tell, I don't watch much TV because just really can't stand it. But if you're my age or maybe a little younger, if you go back, look at like television right now, shows, they've almost all tried to drive in some commentary on what's going on, or some ideology, this and that. I'll give you an example. Seinfeld, one of the greatest, longest running, funniest TV shows, did not go into any of the subjects. They went into nonsense. They did not go into any of the subjects like you see these shows, Modern Family, all these other things. It was like the movies too. Like you go to see that Avengers movie, the Black Panther, and it's going along pretty good, and then whammo, you get hit with this deal about slavery and payback against the white man, and it's like, I was like, who wrote this? Farrakhan? What the hell is this? I don't go to a movie for this, to be lectured about the social ills of the country. In the past, you go there to escape shit. Same thing. You listen to music, or you go to a concert. You're there to have a good time, forget about life outside. You go to a sporting event, you're there to forget about life outside. That's your escapism. You go to a movie, that's hey, you want to forget about the real world for a little while. No, bam, here you go. So but if there was some kind of shift, and maybe the Mayans were right with their calendar, the doomsday thing and everything, and maybe it wasn't doomsday and everything's going to end at once. Maybe it was the beginning of the decline of humanity or something. And then again, maybe it's just a changing of an age, and maybe, the changing of an age, there's a little rough spot, but then everybody pulls through and gets through, and everyone gets on the right course again or something, whatever. But there really was, and maybe it's just generational. Maybe every generation has thought this, at the end of a decade or a period. Certainly people who were 18, 20 years old in the 40s could not relate to people who were 18 and 20 years old in the 60s at all. I mean, you look at that shift there. What became acceptable and was not acceptable. You're there, then you go to the 80s, and you go to 2000s. Maybe it's a 20-year cycle. Maybe it's a cycle. But you can see, like, the 60s, went way super left, free love, all this and everything. And then they bounced back, and a lot of them people got accused of being sellouts because they bounced back to normalcy, and they became the yuppies or whatever and stuff. So maybe you got these swings, but they're just little glitches, and then everything bounces back to normalcy for a while or something. At least we can hope for that. And I know people say, well, what's normal? It's just living life, everybody getting along with each other, not having people trying to drum crap in your heads. You getting to keep the money you work for, to be able to, use it on your family, do whatever you want, without all the name calling, people calling, you're right wing, you're racist, you're a Nazi, this and that. And on the left, I know there's a lot of things being said from the right also towards the left in some places, but for the most part, it's not. It's mostly all the anger, vitriol, bad doings and stuff are clearly coming from the left, in my humble opinion. Watching the way people act in the streets and stuff, and like I said, with police, it's behavior. Everyone keeps saying, we got to train the cops, we got to do this, we got to spend more money. No, we got to defund, we got to do this, everything. Like, hey, sorry if I could whistle right now, I'm kind of dry. Maybe you ought to start teaching people to act like human beings. Maybe I'll start teaching people not to get involved with drugs and not to handle every problem they have in their life with violence. And the police, would not be called on them. Hello? Why are you blaming the cop? The cop's just reacting to and trying to keep his oath of duty and go and doing his job. You know, just like a firefighter. He ain't doing nothing until there's a call and he's got to go to work. Well, I shouldn't say doing nothing. They do a lot of stuff, but you get the idea. Officers just react and they're called to the situations, and then they have to try and deal with it. And they're not dealing with people who want to cooperate. That's where the problem is. You understand that? It's people's behavior. It's how you're teaching them. And right now you're teaching a whole new It's the cops. They're racist. They're hunting you down because you're black. All this stuff is crap. LeBron James talking about, what kind of mood was that cop in when he shot that guy in Wisconsin? All this, what kind of mood was the guy that got shot in? Apparently not a good mood because his girlfriend called the law on him. Cops are like I said, they're like the antibodies in your body and the white blood cells. Something goes wrong, they spring into action. Otherwise, they're just there. The police in this country, for the most part, are reactionary. There's times when they've been proactive and done things like, if you look at stop and frisk and things like that, which saved a lot of lives. Yet Mayor Giuliani is a villain to Black Lives Matter and a lot of the people who say they are civil rights leaders, speaking for black Americans, but I'm telling you right now, they do not speak for the majority of black Americans. And I meet a lot of black dudes out here driving trucks and stuff are just like everybody else. Man, and people on the left are crazy. They just want to work and raise their family, be able to spend, have a little money left over after paying the bills to go and do something, get their kids a leg up, a better life than they had. Same with me. My mom did the best she could and everything, but, I didn't have an easy life coming up and stuff. And that was the whole thing. If I told myself, growing for a long time, I told myself, man, I don't know about getting married and having kids, bringing kids in this world and all this and stuff. And, but eventually, especially after I became Christian and stuff, had a little more faith, a little more hope. But I always told myself, if I did get married, have a kid, all this, I'd want him to have a better life than I did. I want to be able to give him more than what I had. So all you people with your white privilege and this and that, stick it up your ass. Stick it up your ass. Like white people get a pass, and hey, Obama and all you other people, white privilege, this and that and everything. When I was 14, I was working full time when my arms up to slop and my elbows washing dishes in friggin' restaurants and stuff, and then cooking and other things. So, white privilege and all this, blow it out your ass. We're tired of it. The whole country's tired of it. Even black Americans are tired of it. They're tired of hearing that because they don't think that way. It's just you so-called leaders and you extremists and you people on the left throw that crap out there. And then, it's like, we got to deal with it as white. Man, what the hell are you talking about? Then African Americans have to deal with it because they're like, hey, I don't think that way. What are you talking about? Telling these white people they got privilege and stuff and all, Then it causes confusion and confrontation between just everyday people. So take your white privilege crap and blow it out your ass. You spoiled bunch of brats. You're not thankful for your fathers and your grandfathers and stuff. Worked hard and stuff, put you through college and all this, and had the money to buy you everything you wanted and stuff. That's why you were privileged. A lot of you out there. That's why you were privileged. Because somebody before you busted their ass and played by the rules and made their money and did right by their families. So screw you and white people, white privilege, and we struggle just as the same as any other race on the face of the planet. And if you don't believe that, you can kiss my ass. I wish you all the best out there. God bless. Good luck to you. Adios.